Jonathan, you and I have reported on northeast Syria. You've been in Syria ever since the beginning of the civil war. But right now, there's a crisis going on right now. What are you hearing from inside Syria right now?
What happened in the recent days is that the government of Syria essentially has sought to reconquer the east of Syria, to take the east of Syria from Syrian Democratic Forces and to bring about their dissolution. And yesterday, a ceasefire was announced, which basically gives the Syrian government everything that it wants. The leadership of Syrian Democratic Forces, I guess in order to avoid them and their people being slaughtered, frankly, have agreed essentially to their own dissolution. The government is now due to come into northeast Syria to take over border crossings, to take over oil and gas installations, to take over governance, and to disband the SDF as a force.
Now, the SDF was an ally with the U.S. in the fight against ISIS. And how would you describe the Syrian Army? Is this a replay of what's happened with the Druze and what's happened with the Alawites?
Frankly, the Syrian Army is a collection of Sunni jihadis. And I've visited Syria twice since the fall of Assad and been up close, so to speak. The fact that these Sunni jihadi commanders have now been sort of officially rebadged as division commanders and battalion commanders in the new Syrian army is all very nice. But in reality, what they remain is the same Sunni jihadi fighters that we've known so well in the course of the Syrian civil war. And the problem is that we know what those forces tend to do when they are deployed or make their way to civilian populations not of their preferred religious type, let us say. They tend to be very cruel and brutal indeed. So right now what we're hearing is, in spite of the ceasefire announcement of yesterday, many jihadi forces are operating east of the Euphrates. There are rumors of attacks on civilians. There are, I think, confirmed reports of them attacking SDF-held jails and of ISIS-associated prisoners being freed as a result. And the situation is very unclear, but there are very real concerns. I'm in contact on a daily or hourly basis with Kurdish Syrians inside Syria. There are very real concerns at the possibility that these jihadis may do what they've done in the past in the coastal area and against the Druze in the south and begin to carry out attacks on Kurdish civilians.
Does this represent the fall of what in the Northeast had been a democratic government that was sort of a bright spot right in the heart of the Middle East?
Unfortunately, yes. This does represent, as a result of the smart diplomacy, frankly, of al-Sharaa and those around him, that the partners of SDF, of that sort of more democratic and Western-oriented government, essentially appear to have deserted it. And as a result, it then had no choice, frankly, but to agree to its own dissolution. Now, be that as it may, that's one thing. But if that now comes to mean that civilians are left vulnerable to the depredations of the jihadis, as we witnessed in the western coastal area and in the south over the course of the last year, then that will be a very, very worrying situation indeed, I would say.
Was this done with the tacit approval of the U.S., and what role is Turkey having in this?
Turkey is playing an absolutely central role, and everything which I'm hearing from friends on the ground is that many of the forces that are now trying to push hard into northeast Syria are in fact Turkish-backed elements of the current Syrian security forces. As you know, the Turks don't have complete domination over the new Syrian government, but they do have very powerful and armed clients within that government. And yeah, what I'm hearing is that they're particularly strong, for obvious reasons, in northern Syria, close to the Turkish border. And it is these forces that are engaged now in trying to push swiftly into northeast Syria. Of course, the Turks regarded that Kurdish-led force as a sort of reiteration of the PKK, who they regard as a terror organization. They're very keen to wipe it out as quickly as possible. Regarding the United States, I think it's much more complex. Of course, the United States does remain, or did remain until the last moments, in close alliance with the SDF, the Kurdish-led force against ISIS. But I think, yeah, there is a sense in which not just the Americans, but the West as a whole, have kind of put their money behind al-Sharaa now, the new HTS government. The West wants quiet in Syria. The West wants somebody to govern Syria. They've decided to put their money behind this jihadi in a suit. If it was up to me, I'd advise them that's probably not the wisest course of action, but that appears to be where Western policy regarding Syria is right now.
Jonathan, great insight and analysis. And
thanks, Chris.
Actually kind of a sad situation to see the demise of this democracy that we've witnessed firsthand. Thanks so much.
Thanks.